What do you want from me? I'm just blood and flesh and bones. I'm not an answer.
Welcome to Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, the show where the Office of Military Affairs keeps you mildly entertained and more or less up to date on what's going on at UNCW. Your hosts are Joanna DeMott, the Military Liaison and Program Coordinator, and Melanie Nelson, the Military Student Services Specialist. Well, hello, Joanna. How are you today?
Great. Absolutely great. Always great. That's just how I am. How are you, Melanie?
I'm good. It's the first day of classes. There are like people on campus, not nearly as many. So like the nice thing about this is that I am safe to walk down Chancellor's Walk because those skateboarders, there's enough room for me to dodge them now. I'm not in mortal danger every time I leave the office. We're calling it a silver lining. Anyway, so you're great. Things are going well. Your kids went back to school.
They did. Yes. The little ones, 2 days in and 3 virtual each week. And the high schooler, I can't believe I have a high schooler, but I do. He is going 1 week on and 2 weeks virtual for the first, I guess just the first 9 weeks they're looking at. But yeah, they all did really well. They came home. I thought they were going to be super exhausted because they're used to doing maybe an hour and a half of schoolwork a day. And they were there all day, but they were really excited. And I think they had a really good time. And I'm really impressed with the safety precautions that the county has put in place for all the students and the staff. And I was just excited for them to get that experience again.
Cool. Happy to hear it. All right, tell me about our guest today.
I am excited. We have Petty Officer Earl Bellamy, the Navy Prior Service Reserve recruiter for Eastern North Carolina. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you ladies doing?
You know, we're great. We're awesome.
Always.
We're super excited to have you on today and just to talk to you a little bit about what you do and ask you a few, fun questions. My first question for you is, how has your work situation changed since this whole thing started?
It's taken a turn for me to get used to working from home, which is not something that I'm used to doing. But it's getting smoother as working with like the kids at the house and trying to balance the office slash kitchen slash snack room. Nook is just getting fun. Much need to say, so it's good.
I like that you say that it's getting smoother. That's, with everything going on, a smooth is a pretty good place to be. Melanie has some interesting questions for you now.
I do. So you've already led me into the very first question because you mentioned the snack room, which sounds amazing, and I want one. Could you tell me more about that? What's in the snack room and who's doing the snacking?
So it's funny, prior to COVID, I was in the gym every single day for 2 hours. And I mean, not to say I got lazy, but I got home. That's what I'm gonna say. In the snack room pretty much consists of a lot of Hawaiian snacks. My wife's from Hawaii, so we keep a lot of Hawaiian goodies in there, a lot of Asian snacks. So we have these things called, I don't know if you know where yan sticks are Pocky sticks. My kids love Pocky sticks, so we have those, and I've told myself to stay away from those, but I find myself digging in that box and grabbing some Pocky sticks and clicking on the computer and snacking away on Pocky. But yeah, those are my go-to snacks right now. It's a Pocky stick and some yan. So I don't have any right now, but I wish I did.
Now that you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, I got to stock up. I'm actually writing a grocery list right now that includes Pocky because it's been a while. And now that you've mentioned it, it's like this alarm going off in my head, must have Pocky.
Pocky is, I've ventured from obviously the chocolate version to the cookies and cream to the strawberry. I'm like, man, I didn't even know they existed until COVID. So, but things.
That's amazing. We did a snack crate. We do a snack crate delivery every month, and one of the first ones we got was Hawaiian, and the snacks were all like everybody loved every single one of them. We can't say that about every country, every state that we get snacks from, but Hawaii is always a good one. I lived in Japan for a while, and I think there's over 100 flavors of Pocky, and Pocky is amazing. I don't normally pipe in on the snacking portion. This is usually Melanie's domain, but I had to say that. That's a great choice. First Pocky call out.
I've been to Japan. I've been Yan Yan, Pocky, Kit Kat, Hi Chew, all that stuff is something we try to keep in the house. Just because we are a multicultural family. And again, my brother-in-law actually yesterday, last week he sent us Hawaiian macadamia nuts. So I have it in my office that I'm keeping to myself because the honey roasted macadamia.
I'm afraid we lost your sound a little bit there, but I heard something about macadamia nuts. And I also heard high chews, and high chews are the chewiest snack in the world. They're the chewiest piece of candy and the most flavorful. And now I have to put that on my list. So this is turning into a very expensive podcast for me, but not as expensive as this episode is for Joanna with her Snack Crate subscription. By the way, Joanna, thank you for chiming in and giving us an update on your Snack Crate, which was a purchase that she made much earlier in the pandemic and much earlier on the podcast. But listeners, our 5.5 listeners, I'm bumping the number up to 5. I have no idea how many people have actually listened, but they needed an update on that. So thank you for keeping us honest there. Okay, so you got some things that you're snacking on, but now what we need to know is a little bit about, again, it's the first day of classes here. We are in a new building on campus, and I've already had all my old favorite students coming back to say hello. And some of them have already been asking me when I'm going to feed them next, because that is what I do. I feed them. And I had to tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not feeding you this semester unless you want Captain's wafer crackers that are tucked away in the pantry, because we're not allowed to distribute food unless it's like totally prepackaged stuff, and we can't afford it, frankly. So we are just providing little prepackaged snacks to our students, but it got me wondering, what was your college experience like, and how does that interact with your military experience?
So I took a break from high school after I graduated high school, joined the service. And when I got out in 2012, I decided to go to college because they had this thing called a GI Bill, which I was all for. So what it initially meant was you serve the country, you do your time, honorable discharge, you get your tuition, you get your school, you get your housing paid for through the GI Bill. So I pretty much went through one semester before I got hired at the Sheriff's Office in Orange County. I went through one semester of school free of charge. I mean, it was great. I mean, watching kids going to school when I did, worried about work, and me just sitting back like, I don't have to worry about that because I'm getting X amount of dollars because I served the country, and I can go home after school and relax. So it was kind of a great feeling. So I'm grateful for the military to be able to fund my one semester of college.
So one semester, what happened then?
So right in that semester, I actually applied for the Sheriff's Office in Orange County, and right in that semester, I got a phone call asking if I still wanted the job, and I took it, and I finished the semester while doing my training for the Sheriff's Office. So it was in March, so I finished that semester in June, and then I never went back. So I got pretty much pulled into my career and then just didn't go back in. So, which I regret, but I will go back eventually. So.
Sure. Eventually is a good time, right? There is always
yes, it is. I know, right?
But in the meantime, it sounds like you had a good time with the Sheriff's Office. So what brought you back in as a recruiter?
So it's more of a personal reason why I came back in. I can dabble a bit about it. Long story short, I got hurt, hardship happened, and the military reached back out and decided that this is home for me. I've been doing it for 16 years. They did everything they could to pick me back up last year, me and my family, because we were not doing too well this time last year. And they said, we'll put you back in as a recruiter. And I applied for it, waited 6 months while I was at the Sheriff's Office, got it. And I have a saying, which I think you guys can probably attest to and have heard this before, that if you do something you love, you never work again. My thing is July 26, 2019 was the last day I worked. I have not worked since. So I do what I love. I put this uniform on and talk to people about the Navy and how it benefited me and rescued my life from the situation that we were in. So
that's really cool. I know that like reserve recruiters they occasionally reach out to an old email address that I had on file that I purposely never intended to check again because it's not for me. But it's always nice to know that there's something different about the reserve component. And then there's also something like, you have this image of recruiters as being a certain way. And then, like you said, you're just telling your story. You're essentially a marketer.
I agree. So this the nasty taste in people's mouths about recruiter, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, is that we gotta go, we're just gonna lie. But the thing is as a prior service recruiter, I talk to people who's been through the process, so it's essentially they know what to expect. So there's no sugarcoating it. My job is to help you continue your benefits, continue to get to retirement so you can relax once you get to the retirement age and have these benefits come to you that you worked so hard to get. And what I always try to tell people is getting out of the military may sound like a very easy and fun experience until you get out of the military and then you realize that private healthcare insurance and just the world in general is different nonetheless. And we are conditioned as military as just like a certain way of life, and to be taken out of it in civilian world is different. But I try to not fit the stereotype and just be real with my applicants when I talk to them about, yes, you are going to be joining the reserves. And unfortunately, I know they want active duty, but this reserve spot will help you to get to active duty, which is what I did. So I did 7 years in the reserves and I'm back in active duty, which again is a huge blessing. So
Yeah. I mean, you're hitting a soft spot for a lot of our students here because they come into the college environment and it's totally separate from even the regular civilian world that you're talking about. And then when they start to face down, you know, graduating or even just completing their time here, they want to complete their time here, but they also kind of miss it sometimes, that military life. Again, I can't speak for everybody, but I do know some students who are like, you know, maybe I should go talk to a recruiter again. So that's why I'm happy we were able to bring you on today, just to talk about that a little bit. I think it's going to be a totally different experience to being recruited back into the military. Like you said, the wool has already been pulled off the eyes. The scales have fallen from their eyes already. They know what to expect.
right.
But this time they're able to come in with even more life experience and even more education and an even better kind of critical understanding of how the world works and how they want to work within the Navy. So that's a pretty cool place to be. Thanks for sharing that with us. I think Joanna has a few more questions for you about your work.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, speaking of this amazing job that you don't have because you're not working anymore, this is something you love. What is your favorite part about what you do?
To be honest with you, just talking to people. I love interacting with people about life and decisions that would help them succeed. And I always go back to my personal experiences, like what I went through and what I've learned to maybe help somebody that's possibly heading down that path. I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure that this is the right thing for you and the family? Because like I said before, it's easy to see the grass is greener, so they say, on the other side, until you get on that grass and you realize that it's not been rained on for a couple of times and then it starts turning brown. But it's can't find the words. It's surreal. It's just I keep going back to blessing. It's just a blessing for me to talk to people and share my story and hopefully strike a nerve and help them realize that the military is a guaranteed paycheck. There's nothing right now amongst what's going on in the world that is a guaranteed right now. So we have people looking for work, looking for benefits, and the reserves, yes, it's not a active duty lifestyle, but it's a guaranteed paycheck. It's a guaranteed healthcare coverage for the families, which is something you don't want to take for granted. So I love talking to people about their benefits and what they're protected by with USERA and things like that, being a civilian military member. So there's a lot of things I love about it. So
That's great. I can see your passion there, and it's really amazing to see. And I definitely wouldn't have any troubles referring somebody to you because I know you're going to take care of them. What do you think some misconceptions are about what you do?
The misconception is that we are not telling them the whole truth and nothing but the truth. That is one of the things, or that I'm hiding or holding on to some information that I don't want to give them, which to me, to be honest with you, is not true. Recruiters have a misconception of, again, of just, you're just a number, and whatnot, which you're not. You are a piece of a bigger entity in the Navy, that you are filling someone else's spot that is about to get out of the Navy. You're taking his spot. What you're doing is just, it's a change. You're just filling the spot for someone that's about to retire, so they can live their retirement and you can get to that point so you can retire. And all we're doing is helping feed and helping keep the Navy consistent and full of eager and talented people who know what they want and want to explore, but don't know really how to get there. And the Navy will gladly help them explore the world and see things that they've never seen before.
It's amazing. If any of our listeners would like or find what you are saying intriguing or would like to reach out, what do you think the best way to do that would be?
My cell phone is always on me. I like to think myself as a youngin, a youngster. So I'll text you. So if you call me, you don't leave a voicemail. I don't typically call back people that don't leave voicemails because I get a lot of spam calls. So text me, call me. My phone number is 910-409-1508. You can text me anytime. Weekends, I periodically check my cell phone, even though we're not working on weekends. I'll check it, and if I get something on it, I'll respond. I'm not that type of recruiter that shuts off at a certain time. I'll work late if I have to. But yeah, they can reach me that way, or our Facebook, which is NRS Wilmington. I think you have it. If you don't mind if you mind sharing it, I can't remember it right off the top of my head.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll put that in the show notes for sure.
And I do have an Instagram, which I don't really use, so I'm not even gonna plug that right now. So I'm sorry.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Yeah, we can put that in there for all our 7 listeners. Maybe we'll get 10 this time. Maybe reserve recruiting is a pretty interesting topic. So
hopefully, I mean, and one last thing is I want to tell people is again, getting out into the real world is a scary thing when you've been in the military, especially working law enforcement. I've seen people's, I hate to say freedoms, but I've seen their stuff just go away real quick. Not saying you're protected in the military, but you have a lot more ways not to get in trouble in the military if you know how to position yourself. So I really wish people will, understand that we are here to help them. We have jobs that people don't necessarily have degrees in or want a degree in, like Intel. We're hiring people in Intel right now. There's a signing bonus for them, and they train you and we give you money, and then you can take that when you go in the real world and then use that as something that you got paid to do while learning the trade, which is, again, it's very hard to come by. So
absolutely. We've really enjoyed having you on today. I've learned so much.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking and doing what I love. So it's been a real pleasure doing this.
Yeah, we really are grateful that you were able to take the time to talk with us and that you were able to speak so candidly and comfortably about what you do and what it actually means to be a recruiter in this day and age. So thank you again. And this has been an episode of Mildly Entertaining at UNCW, and we will see you on the internet.
Thank you for listening to Mildly Entertaining. Our intro music comes from the band Blue Turnip and their song, What Do You Want From Me? You can find their EP, Songs from the Root Cellar, on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. For more information, you can go to blueturnipmusic.com.